What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel. This is season 3, week 2. So, for those of you who might be tuning in for the first time, this is how we get down. I've got some of the greats discussing their teams and just giving you a quick overview of their matchup that they have going on this week. And we're going to go division by division. So, as we say here on the Carousel, either you on or you off. Now, let's start with arguably the best division in all of the NFL. That is the AFC West. I actually have all 4 representatives in the building. I've got Kansas City's own Miss Carrie Johnson. I've got Denver Broncos' Jordan Long, Las Vegas Raiders, Phil Jones, and my man Courtney Griffin, who will be discussing the Los Angeles Chargers. So, with all that being said, everybody, and let's get right down to business. Miss Johnson, you know I'm starting with you first. So, fellas, take a back seat. It's okay. You'll be all right. Miss Johnson, let me just say this. It is always a pleasure to see you first and foremost. And secondly, thank you for keeping me alive this week. Kansas City did what we anticipated them doing. You have the Thursday night matchup. It is your home opener. Talk to me about what's going to happen tonight against a AFC West divisional opponent in the Los Angeles Chargers.
Right. Well, first off, this is our 50th anniversary or 50th year in Arrowhead Stadium. So you're going to see the throwback to the original logos on the field. Kind of a neat, and they've been doing throwback pictures all week. So it's pretty awesome. As far as tonight's matchup, it's going to be one of the thrillers for this week. I have no doubt. I mean, you've got Mahomes and Herbert that are good matches. Just some highlights from last week. I know we played the Cardinals, so don't come at me with that. But 33 of our 66 plays were first downs. We took advantage of the time. We had time management and used the run mixed with the throws going up and down the field. So I really feel like we've got that whole thing done because Mahomes now has an O-line that he can count on and has faith in. So he stays in that pocket longer to find to not have to just fling it, but actually plan it. Last week, he hit 9 receivers for 4 different to go into the end zone. So again, the Chargers are a little on the offset here, not knowing exactly how much or who's going to be the carrier. We've got Pacheco and Edwards-Helaire handling our running downs. So they'll be splitting those run plays. We do not have Bucker, as you saw in last week's game. Bucker planted his ankle and rolled it. We saw Justin Reed, our safety, step up and do that. We signed Matt Amendola to be on our squad this week. We're going up against no Allen, no Parham, and that'll be a benefit for us, obviously. We are going to be facing an old nemesis in Khalil Mack. I'm sure that's going to put our offensive line on notice. So I'm really kind of excited to see this matchup. But I think that this is not a problem. It's just going to be a great game with lots of great moments in it.
Fair enough. I'm excited to see this. I know we got a little bit less than an hour before it happens, so I'm going to let you go so you can enjoy the game. Thank you so much, and we will definitely talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Good luck to the Chargers, but I got my Chiefs. You know it.
So speaking of the Chargers, let me go ahead and get my man making his debut here on Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel. This is my man, Courtland Griffin, who does the halftime show with Courtland Griffin. Courtland, you just heard Carrie. We're talking about your Chargers, sir. So I'm going to give you 90 seconds to just talk about this matchup and your expectation for tonight with this team.
I said it before the season. I'm going to say it again. I got the Chargers winning this division. Sunday pretty much solidified that for me. They went up against a very tough opponent in the Las Vegas Raiders. This is without J.C. Jackson. This is with a very young secondary. Bryce Callahan was back there. You have Asante Samuel Jr. J.C. Jackson will be back tonight. When you look at what they did, Justin Herbert, if you didn't already know who he was, then you should know who he was after this past game. The man literally won the game with his arm. The Chargers totaled 76 yards rushing. That's with everybody. That's with Austin Eckler. That's with Kelly. That's with Sony Michel. All of those guys, they totaled 76 yards. He spread the ball around. He won the game with his arm, 279 yards through the air. Of course, they don't have Keenan Allen tonight, but of course, you got Carter, you got Everett, who's been stellar. Austin Eckler, we know what he can do. When he's healthy and when he's being involved in that game, in the passing game, and then also you got Mike Williams. That defense is going to have to be leaned on tonight. Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack. And then also, like I said, J.C. Jackson is coming back, making his debut tonight. Hopefully, he's questionable on the injury report, but hopefully he makes his debut. This should be a very good matchup. I think the Chargers win this game, a close one, 27-24.
Man, didn't even need a full 90 seconds, man. Always appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much. Do me a favor. Take 15, 20 seconds. Let the people know where they can find you at.
Oh, you know who it is, man. It's your boy, Cortland Griffin, host of the Halftime Show. Y'all see the hat. You can catch me there. I took a break for the last 2 weeks, but we're going to be back at it again full force here within the next coming week. But you can also find me at the 3pointconversion.com, writing on the NFL, MLB, WNBA, NBA, anything, all things sports. And also catch me on Twitter, DC Griffey. I get packed up every single week, every single day on there with my crazy takes, but it's cool. I can handle it.
My man, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. I will talk to you next week, my brother. Thank you. All right, well, now that we got the winners out the way, I need to have a conversation with these next two brothers because I got some questions and I need some answers. So I'm going to start with my man out there in Denver, Mr. Jordan Long, because Jordan, what's up, man?
I would have been a lot happier had Nathaniel Hackett given the ball to Russell Wilson rather than trying a 64-yard field goal.
Okay. All that being said, man, I'm just going to let you know I'm not happy with my cousin. I've been trying to get a hold of him all week. He ain't answered the phone yet because he know when I get a hold of him. But we're going to move past that right now. Let's focus on, because here's my thing. You lost to Seattle, and your reward for that is facing the Texans. Come on, Jordan. Talk to me about this matchup, sir.
So you look at the Houston Texans. What did we do well against Seattle? Well, we put up 433 yards. The thing is we drove right down the field. I was not happy about the red zone efficiency, 0 for 4 against a pretty good Seattle defense. But defensively, I think we're better than the Texans. All we have to do is get a hold of Davis Mills, take him down. We didn't do that a whole lot against Geno Smith, had 2 sacks. But on offense, Russell Wilson needs to target wide receivers more. And when we drive into the end zone, score touchdowns. Of course, we came empty-handed, had 2 fumbles, of course. But also running backs need to hold on to the football. You cannot have turnovers against Houston. Defensively, like I just said, create more pressure on Davis Mills. Davis Mills was sacked 3 times last week in their tie against the Colts. We had 2 sacks. Creating pressure could be the difference in field position. Also, what we need to do, and we did not a very good job, is we need to cover the tight ends. We saw that Disley went off against Seattle. You cannot have broken coverages. Why? Because Davis Mills will pick you apart. The Denver defense, like I said, can't have blown coverages like last week. You do that, Davis Mills will find a way to pick you apart. This is a game we really should win. Houston, they're a good team. They're not quite up to us. But if we don't win, we're looking at next week where we play the 49ers. Also, I really think that special teams coordinator needs to have a bit of a conversation because you can't go for the field goal then. If we get in that situation, go for it.
All right. Look, I'm going to pick y'all this week to beat the Texans, but let me be very clear when I say this to you. I cannot afford for my cousin to go 0-2 on this brand new team when he was the missing component in Denver having a strong, healthy season. But we're going to see what happens. My brother, this is my man, Under Review with Jordan Long, puts out new articles each and every day, pretty much, each and every week. Make sure you check him out. Jordan, sir, thank you so much. I'm going to holler at you.
Thank you, Eric.
All right. This last brother, he already know. And I can just see by the face that he's making back there in the background, he already know what's coming to him. Let me get the unfiltered truth zone. Phil Jones in the building. Phil.
What's up? Yeah. I'm live in Vegas. I think I'm about a couple houses down from Derek Carr.
All right, well, you might want to go knock on that door and let him know who he is. But in the meantime and in between time, as Snoop would say, talk to me about this matchup that y'all got this week with the Arizona Cardinals, sir.
Well, let's make sure that Kyler Murray's playing Call of Duty. But really, the Raiders just got to bounce back. They had the opportunity to win last week. It's just Derek Carr needs to make sure he distributes the ball around to all of his weapons. Do not focus just solely on Devontae Adams. Yes, there are some guys that are dinged up. You got Denzel Perriman. You have Trayvon Moore on that defense that's dinged up. So other guys are going to have to step up. But overall, I feel like the Raiders can be a strong matchup against the Cardinals and be able to pull off a win at home this Sunday. But again, offense, you got weapons. Defense did their job last week. I mean, yeah, they only gave up 24 points, but it wasn't a blowout. They did their job. Offense needs to come through, run the ball, score in the red zone. We shouldn't be having red zone problems with all these weapons. It's like an Oprah Winfrey giveaway. You got a run throw. You got a slot guy, a tight end guy, 2 tight end guys, actually. You got running backs. You got arguably the best wide receiver. Use them. And then there's other guys that are gadget guys that you can use in that mix. So there's no excuse, and there's no excuse for any piss poor performance going into Sunday. If there's somebody needs to go by the end of the season.
Okay, Phil, you said the magical 2 words, no excuses. So next week when you back here on week 3 of Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel, if you don't win, those are going to be my 2 words to you. Hey, Phil, no excuses.
Hey, now good and well, I beat up my team before anybody can beat their team up.
You are right about that, sir. My brother, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. I'm going to holler at you next week, friend.
All right, take care now.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's move over to the NFC West, because if I was to tell you that the Seattle Seahawks would be the only team to win in their division, y'all all would have laughed at it, brother. But you know what? That is exactly what happened. Let me get my man Trey in the building. Trey, man, I see you with the jersey. Congratulations on that victory, man. Has Gino written you back? Because he ain't written me back.
Honestly, you can never guess. I mean, especially in Seattle, when you got Drew Lock, which he is still a gunslinger. No matter how inconsistent he may be, he is still that gunslinger. So nothing's ever given. You all know that that's the NFL. But Gino rocked. Let Gino cook.
All right, so talk to me about your matchup this week against a divisional opponent in the San Francisco 49ers, sir.
Let's see. Let's go ahead and start off by saying I have to rock the Russell Wilson to troll a little bit, but it's all good. This matchup in San Fran going against a young star quarterback, first time really being a full-on starter in Trey Lance. What we saw last week, where the pressure has just gotten there to Russell Wilson to cause him to throw a lot of incompletions, hurry the ball up, and really cause a lot of trouble for these other teams. I don't see anything different. The only thing is that Trey Lance is more agile and more athletic, but still hasn't gotten that connection yet. Seattle's pressure with Nwosu, though we're losing Jamal Adams. We had a guy which I thought that he was dead, but I guess that there's another man with the same name, Michael Jackson. He came in, got 2 fumble recoveries, and then we got Tariq Woolen, and we got a nice young secondary with Sidney Jones and crew. And Jordan Brooks. So it's gonna be a tough battle, just like any game with the Seattle Seahawks. But hey, the 12s are up for it. I'm up for it. We're all gonna check out. We're all gonna see, is really Trey Lance that guy, or do they still need Jimmy G? Me personally, I can't say it, but I don't know. Seattle maybe that another melee, that another bang for your buck. You never know. Well, we got the Seahawks still.
All right, my man. This is my man Trey, man. He is 1-0 and smiling bright. My brother, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm gonna holler at you next week. I see it. I'm gonna have to call. Listen, I've been trying to blow my cousin's phone up. He ain't listening to me, but I'm gonna get a hold of him and let him know.
Hey, like I said, y'all better let Gino cook, because he's still that man. He got a lot to prove.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna holler at you.
Yes, sir. See you later.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep it moving in the NFC West. I got to bring this guy to the table because I think he's got a little bit of explaining to do with regard to his Arizona Cardinals not being so successful against the Kansas City Chiefs. Let me get my man, Mike Caranudo, in the building. Mike, what's up, man?
Man, all right, so DeAndre Hopkins would have made a difference. I got to go backwards on that. He's still our guy. Everybody wants to debate with us, but we know when he's healthy what he does. But look, man, it was a beatdown by the Chiefs. I think Hopkins would have made a little bit of a difference, obviously not 21 points worth of difference. So, look, it was a tough one. It was week 1. All the debates here in Phoenix, Eric, have been around not playing your guys in the preseason. And, you know me and worthless stats, but this is getting pseudo less worthless. Teams that didn't play their guys in the preseason, I think, were 1-5 or like 0-6. It's something terrible like that. They were talking about it. So, look, I mean, for the Cardinals, you got smashed by the Chiefs. Now, what's your reward? As you see right here, the LA Raiders, who got beat up by the Chargers. Derek Carr threw, 2 interceptions or 3 interceptions, pardon me, and he got sacked 5 times by that revamped Chargers defense. So, look, they're going to be very PO'd. The Cardinals are PO'd. The problem is they have to go to Vegas. And with what we saw, look, if Rondell Moore can't play either, we know DeAndre Hopkins is out, like I said, 6 weeks. Everybody knows that. So that was week 1 last week. But Rondell Moore is now questionable. A.J. Green didn't get many passes. Zach Ertz, as the game went on, started to get more. But it's pretty simple. Everybody gets time of possession. If the Raiders can do what the Chiefs did, if the Cardinals let them do that, 11-play drive by Mahomes, 11-play drive by Mahomes, 9 and then another 7-play drive, and you're sitting there, he has 5 touchdowns. Defensively, you got to step up. Isaiah Simmons, targets on your back, but, man, they need J.J. Watt back. It's going to be a tough game. I think the Raiders squeak it out, but I don't think it'll be a blowout again. I don't see a 5-touchdown day from Carr, but I do see the Raiders, unfortunately, Eric, winning this game. A close one, but man.
Well, listen, here is hope that Kyler Murray figures it out before our boy Hopkins gets back. And like you said, I think the important piece is that everybody gets their rhythm and gets their continuity back. I think once that happens, we'll definitely see a different Cardinals team. I'll give you the final word, then I got to keep it moving.
Absolutely, Eric. And I was going to say the one last thing, too. Who do the Raiders have in uniform? The guy the Cardinals didn't give the money to. You can't pay everybody, but Chandler Jones. Everybody remembers the 5 sacks last year to start the season in Tennessee. And, man, he is now on the other side of Max Crosby, Eric, as we know. And good God, I think he could have another 5-sack performance. Won't see 5 interceptions or 5 touchdowns, Eric, but Chandler Jones is going to keep giving the whole money signal too when every sack if he's able to get to Kyler Murray. So it's stacked up against the Cardinals. I'd like to see him win, but Eric, I got to be last week. I may have been a little high on the bad Chiefs defense at the beginning of the season, right? I was wrong. So I think the Raiders at home get it. But again, in a very close game, I think Murray and the Cardinals look better. Lastly, as long as your former boy, Zach Ertz, has the same kind of game he did against Kansas City.
Fair enough. Believe in the Pac-12's own Mike Caranudo here on Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel. Mike, much love to you, brother. I'm going to talk to you soon.
All right.
All right. So let's transition now from the NFC and AFC West to the AFC East and what I'm still calling the best division, the NFC East. Let's start with the AFC East. Now, this is a very, how do I put this politely? Okay. Because I still have questions with regard to Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. But again, when you go to Miami, apparently y'all just party way too much and don't get the job done. So let me get my New England Patriots representative in here to have this conversation. Jude, what's going on? How are you?
How's it going, man? Busy day, but I'm here helping out.
I appreciate you, man. So do me a favor, man, how we do it here on the Carousel. Take 90 seconds. Talk to me about your matchup between yourself, Bill Belichick, and Mike Tomlin, Mac Jones versus Mitchell Trubisky, whatever you want to call it. Talk to me about it, sir.
All right, look, the Patriots are coming off a pretty bad loss last week and only scored 7 points. Offensive line isn't getting it done as of yet. They're having a bit of an issue picking up some of the zone blocking scheme that was installed in this offseason. It's also a situation where, like, the Patriots receivers aren't separating as much. But I think this matchup is actually pretty good for the Patriots. Mac Jones plays pretty well versus zone. The Steelers are missing their top pass rusher, TJ Watt, with that pec tear. Looks like he's going to be on IR. Should be back in I think like a month or 2 months. That gives us an opening. Even with the Patriots having like some issues picking up some of these blocking schemes, I think they can get it together enough where they can at least run the football enough and protect up some of these blitzes, because I like our receivers versus their corners. We do have to keep in mind that Minkah Fitzpatrick is one of them ones. He will be back there. But I think we sneak this out. That Pittsburgh offense, they got 5 extra possessions last week off of turnovers, and they only scored 16 points and still almost lost to the Bengals in an OT that needed missed kicks galore in order for them to get like the W. So I like the Patriots' chances this week.
All right. Well, listen, I can't argue any of those points except to say right now I just feel Mike Tomlin has a lot with regards to who his quarterback is going to be, whether he starts the season or end the season. But Jude, do me a favor, take 30 seconds. Let the people know where they can find you, sir.
So I am on Twitter more often than not. You can find me. My @name is @SUPEPRIME. I will be featured a lot on Sunday morning quarterbacks, giving like the best bets and football analysis for the Chargers this year. The Patriots were already taken. And you can also find me doing Monday morning quarterbacks, where we look at all the games, give you all the analysis, review all the tape. And that's about it, really. I also have a Pats Nation community. So if you guys find me on Twitter, join up on that, please.
No problem, man. Thank you so much for your time, my brother. I look forward to seeing you here in the future on Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel. Thank you, sir.
You are very welcome.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. Unfortunately, I'm sorry I have to do this to you, but his team is 1-0, and I did pick him, but I told him that if his team didn't come through, he was going to hear my mouth. Let me go ahead and get Sideline Sports Own Jon Shearer in the building. Jon, I'm just going to let you do your thing, man. Go ahead. You 1-0. Talk to me about your matchup.
1-0. I mean, we stomped those overrated Pats, so I wasn't even worried about them. This is the game that matters, because we ran cover 0 basically the entire game against Lamar Jackson last year. He averaged only 5.5 yards per pass attempt, through 1 touchdown, 1 pick, was sacked 4 times, only ran for 39 yards. He could not figure out that cover 0, just like Mac Jones couldn't figure it out last week. The Dolphins are going to do that again. They're going to all-out blitz him. They're going to look like they send the house, and they're going to drop 8 and confuse Lamar Jackson, because he's a quarterback that doesn't really know how to read the defense. And when you give him a defense like that and you confuse him, he has no idea how to read that. That's one of his downfalls, is being an actual NFL quarterback. Instead of running the ball, you actually have to play quarterback, and the Dolphins know how to take him out of the game. So that's what I'm looking forward to. This is going to be an ugly, low-scoring game. Both teams' defenses are going to show up and show out. And I think first team 17 wins. I think the Dolphins end up winning 17-16. It's going to be a really good game if you like defense, but it's not going to be high scoring like people think it is. Again, the Dolphins dominated the Ravens 22-10 last year. Lamar Jackson couldn't figure out cover 0, and we're going to do it to him again and make him try to be an NFL quarterback, but we all know he's just a running back. So, go Dolphins.
Always and forever, the one and only, ladies and gentlemen, Jon Shearer.
About to
My
be
brother,
2-0.
you know I got love for you. I'm gonna holler at you, man. Thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna switch gears here. Now let's move to, like I said, in my opinion, the best division in all of the NFL. See, my bell is going off to remind me it's about that time. But let me go ahead and get the rest of my division in here with me, because again, if I was to tell you that the Eagles, the Washington Commanders, and the New York Giants would all be winners this week, y'all have thought that I was crazy. And as we say, one of these things is not like the other. Unfortunately, the Dallas Cowboys lost this week, albeit injury, because of Dak Prescott and his thumb is, he had their surgery. But Jerry's going to try and rush him back because he doesn't believe in Cooper Rush. He's just putting him in for 4 weeks. But we're going to get to Megan and the Cowboys later. Let's start, of course, with yours truly. Listen, it's Monday Night Football. and we've got the Minnesota Vikings, a team that we know rather well, a team that we had to go through, even though they came to our house, in order for us to get to go play the Super Bowl in their house and beat Tom Brady and win our first Super Bowl. So listen, Kirk Cousins, you did something that not a lot of people can say they've done. You beat Aaron Rodgers opening weekend. Congratulations, you did your thing. But Kirk, please believe you're coming to Philly. It's our home opener. And as much as we respect Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson, and your defense is good, Kirk, you already know I'm just not a fan of you. So listen, I am expecting this to be more of what we did against Detroit. You're going to throw the first punch, and then our counter punch is going to be when we go ahead and put up 21 points. Now, this is going to be a lot closer. Well, actually, it was only a 3-point game, realistically, between us and the Lions. I expect this to be more than the same. But Philly will be 2-0 after Monday Night Football. Let me turn it over to my Washington Commanders, my guy, Couch Coach, man. Congratulations on your win against Jacksonville. But now you have to face the team that I just beat in the Detroit Lions. So talk to me, sir.
Once again, thank you, my NFC East brethren. Great matchup that we got going on here. It's kind of interesting to consider the fact that in Detroit Lions, their last 24 games, they've been the underdogs. They've been the favorite for the first time in 24 games. This is really intriguing. Obviously, Detroit has won this matchup five out of the last 6 games. But I think the tide is turning. Obviously, you look at what Carson Wentz did last week. You've seen the good, the bad, and then the good again, obviously with a 4-touchdown performance and him having the ability to spray the football down the field with the plethora of weapons, our trio, as we affectionately call it now, with Terry and also Curtis and Jahan. Defense is going to be our biggest issue. Obviously, you look at Detroit, they've done a great job as far as offensively, especially when we talk about the Eagles matchup. DeAndre Swift had 144 yards last week. St. Brown, I think he's going to be a pivotal part of this game. And then I think TJ Hawkins is going to have probably one of the biggest mismatches in this game. And obviously, this Detroit Lions team this team embodies the knee-biting embodiment of Dan Campbell. But guess what? We built for it tough. We got our braces. We got all our teeth. We'll bite some kneecaps and we'll get that win, and we'll hopefully be on top of the NFC East and maybe, a collision course of 2-0 teams potentially. But we're not gonna put the cart before the horse. But we'll take care of business in Detroit.
All right, my brother. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. Let me go ahead and bring the man with the plan. The man who I think shocked a bunch of people, ruined a bunch of survivor pools, and lost the people a whole lot of money last week. That would be Sideline Sports own Mr. Jake Malik. Jake, first off, congratulations, sir. I know you weren't anticipating a victory. In your heart you were, but not vocally. But
you're right about that. It's nice being at the top. Megan, I'm sorry to see you on the bottom, but happens. I'm sorry because I like Megan, not because I like the Cowboys. I'm just sorry for Megan.
Megan knows I got love for her, but her team is just
listen up. Okay, Jake, y'all the only ones that I'm gonna give credit to. Hey. First off, Eric, y'all beat Detroit barely. Let them come back. And I'm sorry, Couch Coach. Love you to death. Y'all beat the Jags. Chill out.
Thank you.
Hey, Jake, talk to me about your matchup this week, sir.
Yeah, look, going back to last week real quick. I mean, Brian Dable was gutsy, and I loved it. I mean, that's one of the things I am looking for this week is, does he continue to be gutsy? Because he could have tied the game last week and said, no, I'm going for the win, and he did that. So I love that. Number 2 on my list this week is Daniel Jones. He had 2 turnovers last week. Again, he continues to be an absolute machine when it comes to turnovers, and it kills me. 1 interception, 1 fumble, and it's not good. He needs to stop doing that because this Panthers team is good enough that they will capitalize on those turnovers. You can't do that. Number 3, O-line. We gave up 5 sacks. That was not pleasant. So, again, you got to fix that. They looked okay sometimes during pass coverage. Obviously, the run game was decent. That's partially because Saquon Barkley is just back and healthy, and he's playing amazing, which I'll talk about in a minute. But they got to look better. They got to play better. I know they're not used to playing with one another. I know it's new. I get it. But they got to fix something because the way they looked last week was not great for the most part, for those – minus those few exceptions. And then number 4, can Saquon continue to be the one-man wrecking crew that he was? Because Saquon looked phenomenal. And I said this, the line looked okay at times. I said that because Saquon looked so great, but it's because he was putting in the work. He was making plays in open space. He was making guys miss. He was making plays, and he looked fantastic. But the truth is, he is one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, we won that game. So can Saquon continue to be the one-man wrecking crew that he was this week? That is a big thing for the Giants. They're going to need him. And as for the Panthers, it's simple. You just got to get to Baker Mayfield. Kayvon Thibodeau might be back this week, so we got to get some pressure. We only had 1 sack last week. If you get to Baker Mayfield, everybody knows that's how you beat him. That's the way to beat this team. That's what we got to do this week.
All right, last but not least, let me go ahead and let her do her thing because she's got to run because she's got her own show coming up. Make sure you check out Megan Price with the sip-off. Megan Cooper Rush is starting, and you're playing a team, Megan, that at one time you said was going to go 2-15, and I think they heard you. Because now they come into your neck of the woods, and I think they're gonna put a hurting on them boys. So talk to me about your matchup: Cincinnati versus Dallas.
Well, you say last but not least, but I gotta disagree and say least. It looks bad in Dallas. It looked bad last Sunday night. It's probably gonna look bad Sunday afternoon. Both of these teams are 0-1, but these two teams are drastically different. Now, Burrow was sacked 7 times last week, and he had 4 interceptions, and he got hit 11 times. This is the same story that they've had going for a while there in Cincinnati. They need to protect their QB. And exciting, we saw Micah Parsons. He's still that dude. He's still that guy. He got 2 sacks, and he had 5 tackles. So, but he can't be the only one because the rest of the pass defense did not look really great. And our rush defense was complete and total trash. We need our corners to focus. Anthony Brown gave up 7 receptions and 108 yards. And Trayvon Diggs didn't give up a ton of yards, but he also didn't have any interceptions as well. So we need Diggs to cover Jamar Chase, and what a tall job that is. Jamar Chase had 10 receptions and 129 yards and 1 touchdown last week. I expect things to be pretty ugly. T. Higgins was hurt for Cincinnati last week, so we won't see him this week. And also just make sure that tonight that you check out the WNBA finals. Game 3. Just want to make sure and shout that out because there's not going to be a whole lot going on with Dallas.
Wow, she just deflected all the way around and said, forget about my team. Focus on the W. I mean, I listen.
You know what? That is literally how the sip-off started because it started in 2020, and we know how that season went. By the end of the NFL carousel, I was like, I need my own show to talk about basketball because Dallas wasn't doing it.
All right. Hey, as you see, ladies and gentlemen, 3 of the best that I get to work with on a regular basis. Couch coach for the Washington Commanders, my man Jake Malik, Sideline Sports every Tuesday. And, of course, one of my co-hosts, Megan Price on the Sports Arena. She also does a sip-off. She does her own carousel. I guess it could kind of be a spin-off of this one. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. But regardless, Megan Price's NBA carousel and also WNBA carousel. Much love to the 3 of you. I will talk to y'all next week. Megan, I will see you soon. Everyone have a great night. All right. Let's transition to the AFC South and the NFC South. Now, I'm going to flip the script here a little bit, and I'm going to start with the NFC South because I got 2 new members in the building who I want to bring on because I want to talk to them. But more importantly, I got a question for my friend, and she knows I love her, but I still need some answers. That is Miss Jennifer Matthew Lewis. I know 3 chicks in the pod zone, but Jen, I mean, I told you Baker wasn't going to win. I told you, but it is what it is. Now, before we get to you, hold that thought because I got two that I'm bringing in. This is a new gentleman bringing on covering the Bucks. Goes by the name Tip-tastic. Look, even got the crown on. Oh,
because hey, and the goat, and the
I'm loving the tiara.
And the goat.
Tiara. This is a crown for a king. And
he got all right, King. I see you. And then last but not least, I got my man. He is a family member of the Sideline Sports Network. My man, Joe Carlino, is in the building. Joe, what's up, man?
How you guys doing today? How's everybody doing?
Great. How about you?
Hey, the goat's doing great.
We're going to start with Tip-tastic, sir. This is how this goes. You get 90 seconds. Talk to me about your matchup. The Bucks facing the Saints, sir. The floor is yours.
There, bring it up. 0-4 in regular season against the Saints. But he came back for a reason. He came back because this is the revenge tour. He will beat the Saints, not with his arm, but with the running game. Byron Leftwich has to go to the running game. Atlanta gave up 124 yards. Cordell Patterson, playoff Lenny. Lenny is going to have to run the rock. Trust our defense to do not make mistakes. Michael Thomas looked good. Jarvis Landry had 114 yards. No touchdowns, but 114 yards on 7 catches. He's going to be a problem. The defense got to stay disciplined. Todd Bowles got to call a hell of a game. The GOAT will get 2 touchdowns to Julio Jones. The score will be 21-14. Buccaneers, Tom Brady, finally the Saints in the regular season.
Wow, he said 21-14, but 2 of them touchdowns are going to Julio. Okay.
Julio.
All right. I see you on there, Tiptastic. I appreciate you, my brother. But let me go ahead and get Miss Jen Lewis in here. Jen, you got
What
a
up, E.
matchup.
Wilson?
Thank you so much. Thank you. You got a matchup this week, Jen.
Yes.
Talk to me about the Carolina Panthers, who are heading to the Meadowlands to face the New York Football Giants.
So here's what we have to do. Last week, we gave up 217 yards to the Browns in rushing yards, right? Whereas the Giants earned 238 rushing yards. What we have to do is we have to watch out for Saquon Barkley. Obviously, he himself alone had 164 yards rushing last week. The main key to defending Saquon is to make him run left to right. Typically, he runs north to south, vertical, whatever, however you want to say it. We also have to really watch out for Sterling Shepard. Last week, he had 71 receiving yards. Now, what we need to do offensively is we have to get the ball back to Christian. He only had 10 touches last week. That's ridiculous, and most of those were in the fourth quarter. So we got to use our man, right? We also have to get the ball to Shy and Tommy Tremble. Why Tommy? Because everybody's going to be looking out for DJ. So we got to do a sneak attack there. Brian Burns and Dante Jackson are going to have to step up. So is JC Horn. Shaq's going to keep it up the same way he has been. If he can increase it, he should. Baker should have a better game this week. Last week, after he threw that interception, you could see that actually settled him down. However, we have to have better play calling. 3 home openers, 3 different starting quarterbacks, 7 starting quarterbacks overall. At some point, it ain't the quarterbacks. Just saying.
All right. Fair enough, Jen. Appreciate you. But let me go ahead and get my man, Joe Carlino, in here. Joe, I picked you last week, and you almost got me a W. But talk to me about your matchup, because you're going up against the champs this week in the LA Rams.
Well, I already know one thing. If you want a game blown, all you have to dial is 404 and 7 other digits. And if it says Atlanta Falcons, how may I redirect your call? You're going to be able to know that your lead is safely blown. But going into this matchup against the Rams, Eric, from what I'm seeing with our team, I mean, now, against the Saints, there was a lot of positives, granted, up until the fourth quarter. But our run game was definitely a lot more dominant than it's been. Our play-action game was showing up. Our offensive line only gave up 1 hit all game, which is impressive as all you know what. I'm not going to say other words out of respect for you guys. But to get only 1 hit on a quarterback like Mariota, as opposed to probably like 6 or 7 if Matt Ryan was under center. Now, that's also a byproduct of how the offensive line is. As long as they're not getting pressure, quarterbacks will stay upright, plays can develop. Drake London, phenomenal debut. Now, granted, he only had 5 catches for 74 yards, and he had a 31-yard catch and run. Very impressive. The real question that I want to see is how our defense is going to perform. Can they stop Cooper Kupp? Can they stop Allen Robinson? And can they force Matthew Stafford into mistakes?
All right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. These are my NFC South representatives. I've got Miss Jen Lewis, 3 Chicks in the Pod, Basket Bros, the Gauntlet, all members of the Sideline Sports family. Oops, sorry about that, kids. I'm getting to them next, the Colts. That's why I was just teeing it up right there. Tiptastic, thank you
Yes,
so much. And of
sir.
course, Joe Carlino. Look forward to seeing everybody next week. Everyone stay safe and stay blessed. I'll holler at you.
You too. Bye, Eric. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So let me get over to the AFC South and get my man, Mr. Mike Patton, in the building. Mike, what's going on, man? Look at you, suited and booted, brother. I got to step my game up if I know you're going to come in a shirt and tie, man. What's up?
Oh, man, just living the life in here in Nashville and hearing all the Titans fans go crazy on radio all week.
Man, listen, this is what I will say. At least you didn't tie. That's all I'm saying. Okay?
Well, it wouldn't have been a loss, so it actually still puts them in last in the division.
Actually, Jacksonville is below you, but you have the other Monday night game this coming up, and you are going up against the Buffalo Bills, sir. But talk to me about this matchup, please.
Honestly, it's been an interesting one the last few years. For those that aren't aware, the Titans have won the last 2 games against the Buffalo Bills. The first one, plenty of people remember because Derrick Henry stiff-arming Josh Norman and stiff-arming him into oblivion. The second one, Josh Allen trying to run a quarterback sneak, slipping, and Jeffrey Simmons blowing it up. So this one is the trilogy. This one is the one for prime time. It's not Rocky versus Paulo Creed, but hey, maybe it might be that on Monday night. So, definitely going to be interesting to watch and see how the Tennessee Titans can kind of mix things up defensively. That's going to be key, kind of mix up their coverages, make Josh Allen think about the coverages. If they do that, then, make him think, then I think they can cause some confusion. And they do also get pressure with their front four, which, the Rams couldn't do that consistently. So we'll see what happens there. Offensively, get Derrick Henry the football, get it to him at least 25 times this game, have him close out the game as opposed to trying to mix it up so early. But, what they do need to do is get the ball in the hands of the playmakers. They do have more playmakers offensively this year with Kyle Phillips, Robert Woods, Chigga Kwaku, Treylon Burks. So they need to mix it up offensively. If they're able to mix things up offensively, control the clock, and defensively kind of mix up things against Josh Allen, I give them a chance to win this game. And matter of fact, I'll say it. The Titans will beat the Bills on Monday night.
Did you just sit here on Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel and say that the Tennessee Titans are going to beat the Buffalo Bills, the same Tennessee Titans that could not beat the New York Football Giants?
Yes,
okay.
Because the same team that you're talking about last year, remember, they lost to the Arizona Cardinals the first game. They lost to the Houston Texans, but they also beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Remember that.
All right. No. I got you. I wanted to make sure I heard it. Ladies and gentlemen, touring the AFC South Zone, Mr. Mike Patton. Mike, always a pleasure, my brother. Thank you for taking time to join us here tonight on Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel, my brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, catch your breath, man. I know you're shocked off of what you heard. I know.
Yeah, I am a little bit. I'm gonna take a second. Woo! He said it. Now, if it comes to fruition, I owe this man an apology, but I just don't see it. Josh Allen is still my pick to represent the AFC and go to the Super Bowl, but we'll get to that at a later time. Let's transition over to the AFC North, because I got 2 gentlemen here who I know are dying to talk about their respective teams. And I got some questions. Now, let me be very clear. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Stop asking Lamar about his money. Don't worry about it. Ain't your business. When Lamar want to tell us, he going to tell us. But before we get to him, let me get to my man Daniel to talk about his Pittsburgh Steelers, because I want to know how he feels not only about his new quarterback, but also how he feels about his matchup. Daniel, man, what's going on, brother? How are you?
Oh, I'm doing week 1 matchup right there against the Bengals. That was a great game.
It took y'all forever to end the game. Can I just say that? I mean, I'm just thankful it ended, because we'd still be waiting to see what happened. But Daniel, man, talk to me. You got a matchup this week against the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick. Give me your thoughts.
Oh, I think this is gonna be a tougher week than everyone expected. Mac Jones, he's great against zone coverage, as Jude said, but I think we have to run more blitzes. We rushed Joe Burrow last week with 4 rushers and still got to the quarterback. We had a lot of sacks, with 7 sacks. Even when T.J. Watt was out, we still had pressure, to say the least, because Arthur Mollett was coming off the edge from the nickel cornerback spot. And I think if we just continue to pressure Mac Jones, I don't think Matt Patricia, out of all people, Matt Patricia is going to get a scheme up to fight against Mike Tomlin's defense that has been one of the best in the past decade already. And our defense is going to continue to riot with the New England Patriots. But the offense just looks terrible. It's not Mitch Trubisky's fault. It's not the offensive line. The collectively as a group, they have to pick it up. Because Najee Harris, he barely got into the game, had like 10 carries. Yeah, he did get a touchdown, but that was barely anything. And our leading rusher was Chase Claypool with all these jet sweeps. Matt Canada loves to run. And we have a very collegiate-like offense. And I don't know how this offense will succeed, because the offensive line played pretty decent. Mitch Trubisky was not taking a lot more risk than he should have. And I think we just have to take advantage of the defense, but the offense has to play better. Give Deontay Johnson some shots. Give Pat Fryermuth some shots. And give George Pickens some targets. We picked him in the second round, and he got like 2 targets last week. So, we have to work with this offense, because we're going to lose to the New England Patriots if the offense still stays stagnant like this.
All right, my brother. Well, here's hoping that your Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin get it done against New England. I feel that the opportunity is there. My friend, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. I will definitely speak to you next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
All right, let me go ahead and welcome another new fresh face to Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel. This our man JJ's in the building. What's up, man?
Oh, your boy done got me ready. Your boy got me ready. But I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm well. We ain't gonna waste no time, brother.
It's
Talk
amazing
to me.
that this man does so much dedication to the game and still don't know what the heck he talking about. If a man like John get his first win against the Ravens last year and thinks he knows something, not realizing they got beat by an average margin of 30 plus points 3 games before, undoubtedly 49 points by Lamar opening day from 2019. Know your place, young man. You don't own the record over him, and you just got your first victory, but you're not going to do it again.
All right. Aside from all that, talk to me about this matchup, please, sir, because I couldn't even I don't even know what to do. But look, the floor is yours.
Oh, so it's very exciting. First, we'll say, the Ravens looked rusty because at the end of the day, none of the starters played for the beginning of the season, the preseason, which is why the first half they looked a little rusty. Miami looked good, but you're coming to Baltimore and you're coming to our place. And don't be surprised if you get down by 14 to 21 points early, because we do remember a team that beats us and then they give this whole quote-unquote blueprint. Remember when LA Chargers did that against Lamar in the playoffs? They thought that was the blueprint. Come out the next year, win MVP. Tennessee Titans, quote-unquote, beat them. Thought that was the blueprint. Came out in 2020, beat them. Then they said Buffalo Bills got the playoffs. Cool. Then we missed the playoffs last year. Blueprints don't stop him. But so this, the Ravens got everybody back. They've got their running back, J.K. Dobbins, which should be hopefully starting, this coming debut against the Miami Dolphins. And the good thing about the Ravens is the defensive line, and the defense has gotten better. That defensive line was the MVP of the game against the Jets. Michael Pierce is back in Baltimore. Matabuke is a rising star. We had Broderick Washington. We got younger, we got beefier, we got nastier, and we got faster. And then additionally, we got to worry about Tua Tagovailoa. If he wants to throw deep, we have the equipped safeties to make sure they can cover and make sure they can maximize on opportunities, which Marcus Williams did in his first game. 12 tackles, 1 interception, 1 fumble force off of his debut with the Ravens. And you're coming to our town. I got the Dolphins losing 35-17. I'm sorry, John. You don't know what you're talking about. My guy's a quarterback, and he keeps showing you he's a quarterback. Maybe you can learn something from him, and maybe you ought to win a winning season and get to the playoffs and win a playoff game, because last time I checked, you haven't done it.
Mic drop. We done. We out. This is my man, JJ. I ain't got nothing more to say. There is nothing more that needs to be said. JJ, I'm going to holler at you, man. Thank you so much for being on Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel, man. Thank you.
I'm glad to be on, man. Thank you so much, man. Y'all take care. I'll see y'all next week.
All right. Yeah, there's nothing more needs to be said. We ain't even trying that. Let me get to the AFC South Zone Jaguar Menace to talk about that matchup. Good evening. What's going on? How are you?
Good evening, my man. How's everything going? How's
Everything is
everything going?
good. Do me a favor, please. Talk to me about your matchup this week because you are going up against yet another AFC South opponent in the Indianapolis Colts. Talk to me.
All right. So I will say this: the Colts got pretty banged up against the Texans, who they tied with. I'm very excited about our match. We're in week 2, so you won't see a lot of those mistakes. Those coming in fresh mistakes off of the coming off the preseason, off the offseason. We made some mistakes that pretty much beat us in that last game. The Colts, however, have not beat the Jaguars in Jacksonville since 2014. So it's going to be a really good matchup for us. They got Michael Pittman right now, who did not participate in practice. DeForest Buck did not participate in practice. And Alec Pierce is also out on concussion protocol. So they might end up with all backup receivers. So it's looking like a really good matchup for us. The Jaguars have been perfect 0 in injury reports this week. And they look really good, man. They look really good. We look super good out there. I expect Christian Kirk to have another 100-yard game. I actually expect James Robinson to run for 100 yards this week, so look out for that. And yeah, man, it's gonna be a good matchup. It'll be a good game. I don't think the Colts are gonna look as bad as they did in Week 18 last season, but I do believe the Jaguars will have the edge on them 100%.
Okay. Fair enough. Jaguar Menace in the building. I appreciate you. And you know what? I was just hoping you could beat Washington and keep them where they need to be at the bottom of the barrel, but they stole one on you. You're going to get them back. I ain't worried about that.
Yeah, I ain't worried about it, man. They got that. We made some mistakes that cost us a couple of it was crazy penalties, like too many men on the field or illegal formation shifts. Starter mistakes from a young team. We're a young team. We got time to grow. So it's gonna be an exciting week though. Week 2 is gonna be nice. If you're looking for a good game and you want to see the Jaguars succeed, this is definitely one of those games you should definitely look out at.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm gonna holler at you next week.
All right, my man.
All right, so we go into that last division. It is the NFC North, and I've got 3 gentlemen here who are ready to talk they talk. I'm going to start with the man who is my opponent this week. That is my man, Carlos. Carlos, good evening, sir. How are you? Welcome back.
Hey, man, I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me on. How you doing?
I'm all right. You know the drill, my brother. I'm going to let you talk your talk for 90 seconds. Talk to me about the Vikings, as you do have the Monday night matchup versus my Philadelphia Eagles. But the floor is yours, sir.
All right. No, I'm really excited for this matchup. I think it should be a good game. I don't think either team will blow either one out. I was very pleased with what I saw from the Vikings for week 1. A lot of changes that were kind of hyped up actually did show themselves. The Vikings used 11 personnel. They hardly ever used that while Zimmer was there. I think it was 47%. They used it 75% of the time in week 1 against the Packers. And you saw the success that it had for Justin Jefferson, and he was able to go off. And they didn't even really, get Cook going in a major way. I expect that to kind of be more of the case this week as, the Lions found some success on the ground against the Eagles. I think the Vikings can definitely do so. I think the pre-snap motion was huge for the offense. But really, I was more, impressed with what I saw from the defense. The defense had been the Achilles heel the last couple of years, and Ed Donatel and what he's done with that defense. Zadarius Smith looks like he's just trying to show the league he's still who he is, and Danielle Hunter's healthy, and those two together were vicious. And coming up against the Eagles, who the success is predicated on the ground, I really like our potential with our linebackers who are tackling machines with Eric Kendricks and Jordan Hicks. They're known for their ability to go sideline to sideline and make plays and cover backs and be able to make tackles. And so I think even on passing downs, you'll see at least one of those guys probably spying on Jalen Hurts. So I think we match up really well. But the Eagles are a good team, and you can't underestimate them, even though they played a close game with the Lions.
Fair enough. Listen, I respect the hell out of your team. I just don't like your quarterback. It's just that simple. But
I get it.
I think it is going to be a good game.
I will say that quarterback you don't like, he's 6-3 against the Eagles all time.
Yeah, well, he's about to be 6-4. It's okay. My brother, thank you so much. I'm going to holler at you next week.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this man that I'm bringing in, we were just talking about his team. For the first time, as you heard earlier, in 24 games, his team is not the underdog. Let me get in. Detroit Dom in the building. What's up, Dom?
How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you, sir?
Good. And shocked to not be the underdog. That line moved from like -2.5 Washington to Detroit -1. My buddy texted me this morning. He's like, "We're favored?" I'm like, "I know, right? I'm as shocked as you."
Well, you've got the Washington Commanders, sir. Talk to me about this matchup.
Interesting matchup. Things I'm looking at, our O-line against their front four. Much like last year, our O-line is already very banged up. Taylor Decker was back at practice today after missing Wednesday. But today, every starting offensive lineman other than Penei Sewell missed practice. Also, DeAndre Swift, shocker, banged up again. He missed practice on Wednesday. You know, he got those 15 carries, and he's made out of glass, so he had to take a day off practice. What else am I looking at? They're running backs against our front four and linebackers. Antonio Gibson kind of ran and caught wild last week against Jacksonville, 58 rushing, 72 receiving. J.D. McKissick is a threat as well. We have problems covering running backs out of the backfield on patterns. We're not the greatest at, chasing them down nor tackling them. What else? Got 2 forced turnovers. Carson Wentz threw 2 picks last week. I expect him to throw at least 1 or 2 this week again. I really think the only reason that we lost was the 1 pick 6 that Goff threw, and then we couldn't force a turnover. This is also a matchup of the 2016 number 1 and number 2 overall picks, those being Jared Goff and Carson Wentz. Have to get TJ Hawkinson more involved. He had like 7 targets last week, only 4 catches. There was rumors about him griping about being less involved. And the main thing we really have to do is catch the football. 5 drops. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 drops last week. Led the entire league. I've still got us in a close one. Lions 27, Washington 24.
Okay. All right. My brother, as always, it is a pleasure to see you and talk to you. Have fun on the gauntlet, and I will definitely holler at you next week, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my man, my Chicago Bear man, I was so excited, hopefully, to see him today. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it, but he did send me his video letting me know about his Bears this week.
It's real simple what I'm looking for with the Bears going into week 2. They're 1-0. Not something many people expected. I'll even say it myself. I expected this team to do things this year. I expected them to be better than what a lot of people were projecting. 1-0 is a big win for them. And they get to go up against the 0-1 rival Packers. Now, get it. Packers are never as bad week 2 as they are week 1. But going into this week, the young defense looked great last week. And you can say whatever you want about the weather and the inexperience of Trey Lance. The Bears were playing in that weather too. The difference is, especially the difference for this team from last year, is that adjustments were actually made. And I think ultimately that's what the difference in last week's game is. Going into this week, obviously Aaron Rodgers is going to be better. Obviously the Packers are going to execute better than they did last week. That all comes together to say, I'm just looking forward to some good football. This is not a position I thought the Bears would be in, honestly. I thought they would be going into this 0-1, Packers 1-0, and Green Bay gets to overtake Chicago for all-time wins this week. That's not going to be the case, and that's a win in my book already. You want me to put a prediction on this? I can't give you a score. I really don't know. I'm actually excited to watch this game. It's in prime time, and normally Chicago embarrasses themselves in prime time. But I'm telling you, there's something different about this team. There's something different about how everything's going in Chicago right now. This is going to be an actual good Chicago Bears primetime game, and that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
You heard it from the man himself. He's expecting it to be a good game. So that's going to do it for us as part of Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel Week 2. Thank you to everybody for being a part of this. We really appreciate it. I'll talk to y'all next week. Either you on or you off.
Perfect.